Thank you so much for your time on the show today, Kayode. Let's access what we're seeing play out with the Naira here.
Yeah, I think there were some pretty strong comments in regards to Naira valuation and the parallel market from the CBN governor on Tuesday in answer to some questions from journalists. And I think on the back of that and rumors that the border might be reopened, and also we're moving into the Christmas period where there's normally a demand for dollars spikes up in Nigeria, we're seeing that reflected in the I&E window.
All right, now let's look at how the CBN, based on the comments the Central Bank governor made at the MPC. Now let's assess the CBN's role in the exchange rate stability over in the last, say, year, and also understand what it is costing Nigeria to keep defending the Naira.
I mean, in essence, CBN has tried to maintain a stable FX currency. I mean, they've devalued twice in the last 12 months. They moved from 306 to 360. They're from 360 to align with the I&E window from the official rates. They've done all that, I think about 26% devaluation in 12 months to try and stabilize the Naira and try and match them demand with supply, given what's happened with the oil market. Also, is that if you look at the GDP numbers for Q3, Nigeria's oil production is at its lowest it's been for a few years. And that's mainly because of the OPEC plus cuts, which Nigeria is adhering to. And so even though there's been a kind of spike in the oil price, the production is still quite low, and that is affecting the amount of dollars that people are going to see in the market. So I think you take a combination of all that and what CBN is trying to do. CBN is now trying to move people away from the parallel market, which they claim is only 5% of the actual demand in the sector, into the formal market. And the issue is there enough supply in the official I&E window to meet demand? If there isn't, people are going to source their dollars from any other source they can get, and that's the truth. And then you also have things like remittances from abroad. Nigeria normally brings about $20-25 billion comes from abroad in terms of remittances. Now, if you have a parallel market that's given a rate that is sometimes up to 100 Naira more for those remittances, a lot of those remittances will find their way to the parallel market rather than the official market, because people are trying to get more Naira for their dollars. So I think all that needs to be addressed by CBN in a more effective way than to just suggest that the parallel market is illegal and that people should use the I&E window. People will use the I&E window if there's supply in the I&E window.
All right, they're calling for more structure there in the market. But let's get into this rally we're seeing, the comeback, the rebound we're seeing from the equity space and what's playing out here. Yesterday, we saw players in the telecom space and the industrial goods as well as the consumer goods space leading the gainers chart here. But I'd like you to speak on what we're seeing play out for the equities.
In terms of the equity market, I think the equity market is getting a kick from a couple of things. I think the first is the drop in rates in the fixed income market. You're seeing Naira rates at all-time lows, and especially if you see inflation is about between 12 and 13%, you're seeing Naira rates in the single digit. And so a lot of investors, especially the pension funds, are now looking into equities to try and push more of their investments into the equities market. So you're seeing that kind of upsurge there. Now, while in the equities market, they're looking at specific sectors. Now, if you look at the Q3 GDP numbers, ICT, for example, especially telecoms, is doing quite well. Agriculture is doing quite well, despite the overall negative GDP numbers. So I think people are looking at those sectors and investing in those sectors to try and make up for the strong growth that has been seen in those particular sectors.